Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Disney Dining Show, coming to you from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined this week via Skype by my good friends, Dreams Unlimited travel agent Shawn Falk.
Hi.
Associate editor for the DIS, Miss Denny Sunderly.
Hey there.
And associate producer for the DIS Unplugged, Mr. Corey Fiasco.
Hey, everybody.
So, for this show, I want to just give a little preface. We're recording this on Thursday, May 7th. We are expecting within the next week or so that Disney Springs will be the first piece of Walt Disney World to reopen. That's a guess. That's a rumor. Disney has announced nothing. But I thought we thought it would be a good idea to do a show about what we're looking forward to at Disney Springs, right? What we like about Disney Springs, what restaurants we prefer. Maybe there's some dishes that we really look forward to. So, if and when Disney Springs opens, we do believe it will be the first piece of Walt Disney World to reopen. So we're kind of very hopeful and excited about that. So we just thought we'd do a dining show about Disney Springs in general, not a specific restaurant. So I'm going to start with you, Lady Sunshine. Oh, and by that I mean Fiasco. I'm kidding. I'm going to start with you, Denny. Talk about like some of your favorite places at Disney Springs.
Okay, so right off the bat, I think of the Polite Pig. I really enjoy the Polite Pig. Sometimes on evenings when my husband is working late, I'll grab a book and head straight there. And they've got a great, just a counter, bar height counter along the windows. And what I love there, out of what I've tried, is the Southern Pig sandwich. It's just pulled pork. They have an array of sauces to be able to choose from. It also comes with more of a mustardy sauce. You can ask for that on the side. It comes with a coleslaw. You can ask for that on the side. And then you order your sides along with it if you want. And I just sit there happy as a clam eating my sandwich and my pickle. So I'm really looking forward to that. A neat thing about the Polite Pig is your AP discount works there. So if you're an annual pass holder, you get a little bit off of that $12 sandwich, and it's kind of nice. So that's one of the very first places that I'm looking forward to at Disney Springs. My husband and I, just before the quarantine, had the chance to go to Enzo's Hideaway Tunnel Bar. Have you guys been there before?
I haven't, no.
Oh, my stars. It is the most charming place. And so I have a list of places that I've not eaten yet at Walt Disney World. And my husband and I are strategically going through this list. And it just happened to be one of the ones that came up on a Sunday afternoon. And we went, and it is, it's completely enclosed. And it is literally it's a hideaway. So it's kind of underground a little bit. And there's graffiti along the walls and Italian food, crazy good Italian food. We had the Nona's dinner for two, which had this creamy bechamel sauce and meatballs and braised short ribs and Italian sausage. And when the dish came to the table, we went, oh, I don't know if that's going to be enough. Oh my goodness, it was more than enough. So we ate our fill and had more for the next day. They give you bread. It's charming, 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 and I highly recommend it. And I look forward to being able to go back big time.
Okay, so
I have one dessert.
I'm just gonna.
Want a dessert?
I'm just gonna interrupt and say I was right. It's Lady Sunshine.
Oh.
Okay, it is so Lady Sunshine with her.
Okay.
But go ahead. What's your dessert?
The salted caramel bubble waffle sundae from Aristocrapes. So it's kind of over near the Rainforest Cafe side of things, and on one of the bridges that kind of just goes across the water there in the marketplace area. It's $8.99. It's chocolate ice cream and caramel sauce and chunks of pretzel and it is all enrobed in this bubble waffle that comes right off of the waffle maker. When you order it, you have to wait a few minutes for your sundae to be prepared because it's all done fresh. And it is so good, completely shareable, but I can also eat the whole thing myself. I've tested it and done it, and it's just so good. So those are some of the things I'm looking forward to at Disney Springs.
All right, let's go over to you, Shawn. What are you looking forward to when Disney Springs reopens?
My favorite place still at Disney Springs is still Homecoming. That is somewhere that I've been really craving. I've really wanted to go. I have a really hard time getting in there because I'm local, so I'm not staying on property, and I don't get the privilege of booking as early as people who are just coming on vacation, and they take all the reservations. So I don't get to go as often as I'd like. I've gotten to have dinner with the owner now, so maybe I have to call and be like, hey, can I get a reservation again? So definitely that. I've really been craving literally almost anything from there. I miss going. I used to go a lot over to Raglan Road and just order fish and chips and just sit and listen to the music that was playing there. I've always had an affinity for these Irish/British bands that will just kind of sing folk music from their motherland over there. Even at Universal, I'll go to Finnegan's, I believe it's called, at Universal, and I love going in there. It's just my vibe. It's very laid back, but also kind of trashy. So that's like what I like that. And so I really am looking forward to it. I love the boathouse, and I haven't gotten to. Pete and I actually went there not too long, a couple months before the closure started. And I love getting the bread there. I love getting the dynamite shrimp that they have there. It's super good. And then there's also a tableside guacamole that they do at well, now the name changed. I can't think. It used to be Folson's. The
Paddlefish?
Paddlefish, that's what it's called now. It's been a while since they changed it, but I haven't been back yet. And they used to have a lobster guacamole there, and it was pretty pricey. I think it was about $35 or $40 for an appetizer of guacamole. But it did have a good amount of lobster in it, so it was expensive, but it's really good. And I've been craving that for some random reason, and I haven't thought about it in 2 or 3 years. We went when it first opened and got that to do a review of that. So I guess it was paddlefish at that point, but it's very good. So I need to go back and try it. The coronavirus has made me like reminiscent of things from like 3 years ago that I used to do, and I'm like, why don't I do those anymore? Like now I just go and like walk in Under Armour, and that's it. So now, yeah.
Well, it we've talked about it on other shows a lot. How, absence makes the heart grow fonder. So, we're not able to go. And that just makes us want to go even more. Which is why I think when they do finally reopen Disney Springs, they're not going to announce it. I don't think they're going to come out and say, hey, we're going to reopen next week. Maybe they will. But I think the smarter thing, just reopen it. Because if they say we're opening on this day at this time, the thing they're trying to avoid, massive crowds, you're going to have locals. You're going to have locals that feel just the way we do, just racing over there. But
I get what you're saying. I was going to say I get what you're saying completely, because even for me, I was thinking yesterday, I was like, I want to go to that Christmas shop in Disney Springs. Like, I need to go over to get Christmas ornaments. And I'm like, it's May. Like, I don't even need that. But I'm just like, I just want to get over there bad enough that I'll just go Christmas ornament shopping if I can get there.
All right, Fiasco, what about you?
Yeah, so, first off, I like how Denny mentioned Enzo's Hideaway. That was actually going to be one of the most recent restaurant visits Haley and I did right before everything shut down. but it ended up being closed for a private event, so we ended up going somewhere else. But we have eaten there a number of times, and it is really good, especially on the scale of Italian food in Walt Disney World. I personally love Disney food, but I recognize that their Italian food selection is somewhat below average if you're coming from somewhere like the East Coast, like New York, Boston, New Jersey. Those areas really have their Italian food, and to compare it to stuff here, not as good, but I would say Enzo's is pretty good in comparison to the other options that you do have. But Wolfgang Puck Express is a place that I am a frequent visitor of. As well, I live close enough that I can get it through DoorDash, which is awesome. So I'll definitely be getting some takeout pizza to go once Wolfgang Puck Express opens back up. But then even just like the atmosphere, next to Epcot, Disney Springs is probably the area on property that I frequent the most. And a lot of that has to do with just being able to walk around a really nice atmosphere and then also really enjoy the shops. I know in recent years, online shopping has become, kind of the thing to do and where everything's trending towards. But unless I have to, I really don't like online shopping as much. And I really don't have, with certain things like ordering my magic candles, I do that. With exclusive online releases, I do that. And I always get excited for that. But as far as, window shopping, I don't really window shop online. I really like to do that in person. And then, when you find, a really cool pin that you've been looking for, or a Spirit jersey, or whatever, a piece of art, I feel that sense of accomplishment and it feels more like I found treasure when I'm in person than if I'm able to just order something online. And I always like that experience of shopping in an actual physical shop. I know we always get questions from people like, "Oh, did you live in Newport or something like that? Are you from Newport?" Because me and Haley were always repping Newport clothes. And we've never lived in Newport, but we go there as often as we can. Even now that we live in Florida, a vacation of our choice is actually to go back to Newport, Rhode Island. And for people that don't know what Newport, Rhode Island is, it's like a very boaty town. It's a sea town, a naval town that is just littered with mom and pop brick and mortar cute little boutique shops that sell soaps and other things like that. And I'm really into that type of vibe, and Disney Springs has a lot of that, especially now too. They have the tea store, that exact tea store that you can go to at Disney Springs actually has been in Newport, Rhode Island for years. The exact same company. So it was really cool for me when they decided to open up in Disney Springs about 5 or 6 months ago. So I'm just really looking back to get back to the food, some of my favorite food, but also just the vibes and the atmosphere.
Okay. Wasn't sure where you were going with all that, but okay. We did bring it back to Disney Springs. Some of the things you guys are talking about, Art Smith's Homecoming, that is my favorite restaurant at Disney Springs, hands down. The Church Lady Deviled Eggs and the fried chicken it's beyond. I know everybody loves the Boathouse, and I've really given it a lot of tries. If you don't eat seafood, their non-seafood stuff is just not good. It's just not good, and it's overpriced. I've yet to have a meal there, because I don't eat seafood at all. I've yet to have a meal there that I really enjoyed. I enjoy the company that I'm in, just not the food I'm being served. But, Morimoto Asia is another one. I didn't like my first experience there. Subsequently, though, it's really good. Again, it's that Asian fusion vibe, great menu, but pricey, as are most things at Disney Springs. But, I also find myself thinking about Wolfgang Puck Express, like Fiasco mentioned. That is you talk about consistently good. But I have to wonder what happened with the quality and flavor that exists at Wolfgang Puck Express when they opened the Wolfgang Puck Bar and Grill, because that's just awful. That's awful. Service food, the whole thing, awful.
I'd like to comment on that. So I do really like both Wolfgang locations. However, my problem lies where I can go to Wolfgang Puck Express, get it cheaper, and I think it tastes better, or go to the sit down and it's more expensive and I don't think it's as good. So that's where my problem lies.
I fully agree with that. I think Wolfgang Puck Express is really good. I most of the time get a kids meal whenever I'm there, because their kids meal is still a really big portion, and it's really good, and it's like $6-7, and you actually get some extras with it that you don't even get with the regular meal. But I think it's way, way, way better than the regular sit down dining. I don't know how that happened, but
it's a great, just a hybrid fast casual kind of atmosphere. But it's nice that somebody actually brings your meal to you, and they are, like you said, I mean, that's just consistent good food.
Yeah, it is. Also, let's not forget Earl of Sandwich. I think that is a fantastic location as well. And I know this is really trashy, but I have to tell you, while there's nothing good for you on this menu, the dine-in at the AMC really isn't bad. They really have some decent stuff. I mean, it's like you want to kill yourself when you're done, because you're like, okay, I've just taken 2 years off my life eating this stuff.
Yeah.
But it's really, really good.
Yes.
But for dessert, there's only one thing I want in Disney Springs ever, and that is over at Sprinkles and that's the Captain Crunch ice cream. As a kid, Captain Crunch was my thing. I ate Captain Crunch like it was my job, and they got that flavor that when you get down to the, when almost all the Captain Crunch is gone, but it's been sitting in the milk for a while, and the milk has that Captain Crunch flavor. They've captured that with the chunks of Captain Crunch cereal in the ice cream. It is so, so, so good. I'm killing myself here.
Okay.
I want to run to Disney Springs now and force them to open.
Have you ever gotten the cupcake ice cream sundae that they'll do at Sprinkles, where they'll take the top off? It's your choice of cupcake. They take the top off of the cupcake. They set the cake portion of the cupcake down.
Let me stop you. Let me stop you right here. We do not ever take away from the sanctity of Captain Crunch ice cream.
Okay.
It doesn't need cupcakes. It doesn't need sauces. We do not take away from the sanctity of the Captain Crunch ice cream. Okay?
I understand.
We have to be clear about this.
Unadulterated Captain Crunch.
It doesn't need anything. Perfection doesn't need anything.
Well,
it doesn't need anything around it. It is perfection.
I'll go and when I've been especially good, I'll go and get the chocolate marshmallow cupcake and the Rocky Road ice cream. And they put the top of that cupcake on top of that big mound of ice cream, and it is fantastic. So I'd be right there with you, but I would have the cupcake with the ice cream, Pete.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the one other place I want to mention, and I mention it with an asterisk after it, is STK. I've had more good meals at STK than I have bad ones, but it's not consistent. I'll say that. But when it's good, it's very good, and their brunch is exceptional. They do this pull apart cinnamon monkey bread with a cream cheese topping.
Wow.
I mean, bring your insulin with you, but it's really, really good. Shawn, go ahead.
Yeah, we need to go back and try Wine Bar George again. I went once with Pete, and I thought like my mom was there too. I think we pretty resoundingly thought that it was not good, and we didn't like it. But our audience loves it. Like on the boards and everything, they rave about Wine Bar George, and I don't get it. But they're really into it. I did not like it at all. So maybe we need to try it again. I don't know.
I don't drink at all, and you don't really drink wine. I think that's what makes Wine Bar George great for people is that
Okay.
it's a really cool wine experience. And if I was, back in the day, that would have been the top of my damn list because I loved wine.
Right.
I used to, God knows, it's, put me in rehab, but I loved my wine.
Yeah.
So I would have absolutely loved Wine Bar George, but
Okay.
from a food standpoint, yeah, I agree. There was nothing there that we
I didn't think
found
it was good.
to be exceptional.
Yeah, it was not. And they served steak because it was like a family style thing. So like everybody, you kind of all ordered together, and they brought just this giant. It was essentially a trough, but like they brought like a trough to the table full of whatever the meat that you ordered was, and we got chicken because my mom likes her steak well done, whereas myself and Pete like ours like medium rare or medium. So I was like, well, this I don't really get how they do this because they could only cook, everyone gets their steaks a different temperature and all that. So we kind of just settled for the chicken, and it was just I don't know. It was kind of like it almost seemed like leftovers or something. Like it was just this like somebody pulled apart a rotisserie chicken and just threw it in a giant bucket or something and put it on the table. We were just not impressed. It was like December 23rd a couple years back, like after it opened, so it was the only thing that had availability at that moment to go sit down and eat, and it was brand new at the time. So I just always see positive reviews about it, and it's always confusing to me, so we gotta try again, I guess. I don't know.
Can I give an honorable mention for something else that I'm looking? It's Haleo. It's the paella. Oh my word! There have been a couple of times during this season of quarantine where I've gone, oh my gosh, that chicken and mushroom paella would be really comforting right now. That'd be really good. I can't. My hubby's never been there, so I can't wait to go back and take him and get some of that. I mean, that's just comfort food, and it's just so good.
I haven't been to Haleo, but I did make a plea out, I guess, once that like Disney doesn't have very good scallops anywhere because I love scallops and I have a hard time finding good ones. And a lot of people directly emailed me to tell me about the scallops at Narcoossee, and a lot emailed to tell me about the scallops at Haleo, and I've never been to Haleo. So I do, after this is open, I do have intentions of trying to go there and try the scallops because so much of our audience said that they're very good.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to Haleo twice, the two times we reviewed it, and I like it, but it's not something that like I personally gravitate towards, I guess I would say. And I wanted to mention we brought up AMC Dine-In, and I am excited to get back to the AMC Dine-In theater. I want to go. That's my go-to theater. That's where me and Haley always go to see our movies. However, I do not like really any of the food on the menu. I've tried like 5 different things, and every time I'm just disappointed. I don't like it, and I don't feel good afterwards either. Haley loves like the tots and the sandwiches and stuff. We talked about this on a previous show, Denny and I, but I always go to Chicken Guy or Wolfgang Puck Express. I eat there, and then I go see the movie.
The other place I want to mention too that I don't think gets enough love from us is House of Blues. House of Blues really is, especially like for lunch. That's usually when I'll like if I'm over there doing something and it's around lunchtime. Because I forget about it, right? I forget about it.
Oh yeah, so
And I'm like, oh yeah, House of Blues. Because again, their fried chicken is fantastic. I mean, they really have that. It's kind of similar to the comfort food that you get at Homecoming, right? It's kind of the same general vibe. I prefer Homecoming, but if you like that type of food but can't get that reservation, House of Blues is not to be overlooked. It's not to be overlooked.
I agree. I had Smokehouse, their walk-up window out front, on my short list as well. They're another consistently good place. If you've got just a short amount of time before jumping into a movie just down the way, they've got pulled pork, pulled chicken, the whole 9 yards, baked beans, coleslaw. It's great. So that's a place I've ended up at several times.
yeah,
I don't know.
haven't. Right.
You all
I'm,
right?
no, I'm not sure if you guys can hear it. It sounds like a plane is getting ready to crash into my house.
Oh,
It's
I
just
hear
funny.
it now.
Oh, I hear it now. Yeah.
That's a plane. Now we're on the approach. I'm on the approach path for Orlando International, so it's not unusual. It's unusual for them to be flying that low, though. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Shawn. Go ahead. You were saying something.
Oh no, you're fine. Yeah, I actually used to. I used to work at Sunglass Icon, which is really Sunglass Hut that's right across the street from House of Blues, and so they would give us some good deals for eating there or at Bongos when that was available to us. So they do have some. They do actually have some pretty good food options there especially at the walk-up counter. So I agree. It's nothing I ever think of. And I don't ever even remember when I'm looking through the app trying to figure out where I would want to go, it pops up and it just doesn't register in my mind as a place to pick. The same with Frontera Cucina. I don't think about eating there either. Like, it just does not, which I don't like it either, but like it still doesn't register in my mind to eat there. And I don't know why that is. So
Yeah, it's one of those things that somebody brings it up and you're like, oh yeah, I should try that out. But all right, that's going to do it, folks, for this episode. Thank you guys for making me hungry. Thank you guys. Hopefully we made you a little hungry. We'll be back with you again next week with another edition of the Disney Dining Show. Have a great week, folks.